All right, before I get started, I'd like to say all praises, honor, and glory be to God, first and foremost. Then I got to mess with AJ before I start on anything, because I've been knowing him since I was like 10 or 11, and I never knew he could sing. Totally impressed. I would like to give honor to Dr. Martin Luther King and those that came before me during the Second Reconstruction, when we had to march, when we had to have sit-ins, when we didn't have access to education, the political process, or economic development. So I would like to give honor to them. But then I would like to challenge everybody here, because Malcolm did a prophecy during the March on Washington. And I call it a prophecy because he said 50 years later, we'll still be marching for the same things. 50 years later, we're still talking about good jobs. We're still talking about economic development. We're still talking about education. We're still talking about a community that's not being taken care of.
Thank you.
The only problem with this is we have access now. You may not want me in the door, but I have the key to get in there. We talk about the educational arena, but we don't show up to change the curriculum. We don't show up to school board meetings. We talk about the community. It was beautiful that we can get this many people to march down Benton Boulevard to come down to 47th Street. But how many of us take the time to talk to the neighbors and stay on the same block that we stay on? How many of us take time to talk to the youth that we see with their pants hanging down, that we see standing on the corner, and to figure out why they standing on that corner? How many of the educated or the talented temp take their time out to tutor and to give back to the community with no recognition? This is the things that we have to do if we don't want to continue to march every 50 years. It makes no sense that we're talking about the same problems. I mean, if I came to you on Monday and I said I was hungry, and I got a refrigerator, food, and plates, and the whole nine, then I came to you on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, by Friday, you're going to think something's wrong with me. You're going to think I have a mental lapse or a mental problem because I haven't fixed myself a plate of food. Well, it's the same when we talk about the lack of. When I have access to the political process, when we can elect a black president, we can elect a black mayor, we can elect black state representatives, black senators, black people on the county, but we can't change the educational arena in the state of Missouri. We can't change the penitentiary process that affects so-called minorities. We can't put more money and more resources and change the curriculum in the educational arena by voting and electing people that are going to do the will of the people, and then following up on those that we put in office by going to meetings, by showing up at school board meetings, by showing up at state-sponsored forums, by showing up at City Hall. Then we're not going to see anything change. When Martin Luther King had a dream, it wasn't supposed to turn into a nightmare. I mean, we wasn't supposed to be living the same realities that they was living 50 years ago. And until we start doing the proactive things, and I believe this is a type of event that can actually become a proactive thing when you engage the community. You get the community to come out. But we have to remain fired up beyond election time. We have to remain fired up beyond the time when you see the political representatives come up here and give speeches. We have to remain fired up every day. And then we have to actually care and show compassion for our community. In Kansas City, the last week we didn't have 14 murders. Most of them has been black on black in the inner city. Last week, it was a murder on 53rd. A mother and her child was executed in the house. What are we doing about this? What are we saying about this? What are we saying about our children that are out here dying? And they're dying not because they're immoral. I'm gonna have to talk a little louder. They're dying not because they're immoral. They're dying because us as the talented 10th, or us as the community leaders, have been failing to do the type of things that we have to do. And my whole message is to be proactive. My whole message is self-determination.